Yes, hello. To have a business that runs itself when you're not there, and therefore you can have breaks, you can go on holiday, you can have weekends off, etc., you need to have all these elements in place. Now, what commonly happens is people set up businesses to do what they're good at, which is called operations, and then they spend most of the time working in the business rather than on the business. And therefore, the business won't operate if they're not there, and they don't really get the spare time to have a life outside of the business. So in order to avoid that, what you need is to be able to have a business that you can work on rather than in. And this is how you do it. The first starting point is you have to set time aside to actually work on your business rather than be actively employed all the time working in it. And then you need to set personal goals, which then will determine what your strategies are for your business, because the business should be supporting your lifestyle rather than you working for your business. So you need to take time out to set these goals, and then that determines the strategy for your business. And then you need a vision as to where you want your business to go, who your ideal customer is, how you're going to solve the major issue or problem or concern that they've got better than anyone else, which is what's called your unique perceived benefit or unique selling point. Now, a word about goals. So goals, there's various ways of looking at how goals should be. The first thing is they should be written. Now, RUMBA stands for result orientated, understandable, beyond what you would normally have expected, measurable, and A stands for achievable. Now, what we mean by achievable isn't necessarily objectively, is it achievable or not, but you have to believe that you can achieve the goals that you set, because otherwise you won't be committed to pursuing them. You can also talk about SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. And you can also talk about PPP, which is they should be set in the positive present tense. So positive as in I am or I earn, present tense is as I am, I earn, and personal as in I. So the three P stand for personal, positive, present tense. Now, once you've got your goals in place, the other one of the holy trinity, if you like, the three most crucial ones is you need time set aside, you need goals and strategies in place, and then you need to have systems in place, because it's the systems that determine whether the business will run when you're not there. This comes from Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, which is a famous book you've probably heard of. But basically, any successful business that is a separate business to the person, if you like, has to have systems in place. And the systems have to be written out so that anybody in the organization can actually take on board what needs to be done in a particular role and can actually follow the system and just do it. So systemization. Now, once you've got those three things in place, you then need to understand your key numbers. And that's really interesting, because if you understand your financial key numbers, but also your sales and marketing key numbers, the interesting thing is, if you were to take time to just work on your business every day or every week, not necessarily for huge lengths of time, but set that time aside, then if you could make a 1% improvement in one of those key areas a week, just 1% a week, then you would end up with more than 10% in 5 key areas, because 1% a week adds up to more than, or accumulates to more than 50%. So you would end up with at least a 10% improvement in 5 key areas. And the 10% improvement in 5 key areas is more than enough. In the vast majority of cases, it's more than enough to more than double your bottom line profit. So it's just taking the time to work on your understanding your key numbers and then making some small improvements. To grow the business, you need to obviously do some sales and marketing, and you need to know, really, you need to use an expert for this, because everyone thinks they can do their own sales and marketing, but most people aren't very good at it, whereas people who know what they're talking about are. So this is one of those areas where it would pay to actually get someone to do it for you if you can afford that. And similarly, dealing with people, so that could be anything from employing people, building teams with different ability levels in different skill areas, different personality types, DISC and Myers-Briggs and all that sort of thing. So a combination of different people makes a well-balanced team. And then the last one there, which I've got, is operations. Now, I've left that till last because generally that's where people are most strong. Most people are in business because they're good at something, and for various reasons, they've ended up working for themselves doing this thing. So the operations bit they're normally quite good. But even there, generally, operations can be improved by systemizing. So systems can apply to operations, what you do, just as much as to the other areas. So in summary, to have a business that runs itself when you're not there, you need to be scoring high in each of these key areas, and you need to be taking time out, which you've diarised beforehand, to actually work on making small improvements to these 6 key areas. So that's the secret between being self-employed in the business, which is where a lot of people are, operations, working in the business, and being a business owner, where you're working on the business and you're standing outside and separate to the business, and you're working on the business and making these improvements and making the business systemized so it runs itself and so it's strong in all those key areas. So I hope you found that interesting. If you're interested in how a small group of business owners can act as each other's advisors and help each other with advice, and also to set goals, challenging goals, and hold each other accountable, have a look at businessroundtableuk.co.uk. You might find that interesting. And if you want to discuss any more of these ideas or have a one-to-one or anything like that, comment below, or on Facebook, or just message me. Hope you found that interesting. Thanks very much for following that today.